Alright, welcome back once again to ranking forgotten Poppy Playtime characters based on how forgotten they are. And last episode, I got a lot of comments about people saying that I forgot some characters. So in this video, I decided to include all of them and even some more forgotten characters that literally no one talks about. Okay, so we're just gonna get started. The first one is Poppy Boo, and Poppy Boo is one of the characters in Project Playtime. It's the multiplayer game of Poppy Playtime, if I remember correctly. Poppy Boo is actually pretty well known, I feel like. I'm just gonna put Poppy Boo in well known. I know he is in a multiplayer game. I don't know if he is in the actual Poppy Playtime games. Yeah, you can let me know if he actually appears in the Poppy Playtime games. I don't think he does. Okay, next one is Limon, and Limon is an Easter egg in Chapter 1, and I think in Chapter 3, if I remember correctly. I don't know. I know he is in Chapter 1. He is at the final part somewhere on the bridges, and if you grab him, you will just get like a death message. You'll just instantly die. Limon is actually, I think he is pretty underrated because no one really talks about Limon, but it's a pretty cool character nonetheless. Alright, a lot of people commented about this one, Yarnaby. Now Yarnaby is like in Chapter 4, if I remember correctly, and Yarnaby is one of the characters that chases you, and you have like a little escape section of Yarnaby in Chapter 4, if I remember correctly. I feel like a lot of people know Yarnaby. I feel like he isn't necessarily underrated, but he's pretty obscure. I'm just gonna put Yarnaby and no one talks about them because no one really talks about Yarnaby. But I did get a lot of comments about him, so he is pretty well known because, well, people commented about it, so they know him. Okay, the next one is the leader of the Nightmare Critters, and his name is actually Baba Chops. It's like a sheep character. I think he or she, I don't know if it's a he or she, to be honest. Okay, back to the video. It appears in Chapter 3, if I remember correctly. Yeah, he appears in Chapter 3, and I think he has a chase scene in Chapter 3. I need to escape him. Besides that, he is the leader of the Nightmare Critters, but I feel like no one really talks about him. He is not obscure. He's also not underrated. Well, maybe he is, but he's not well known. I'm just gonna put him at no one talks about them. I feel like no one talks about him. Okay, next one. I also got a lot of comments about my last video, and that is PJ Puckapillar. Now, PJ Puckapillar is in was it in Chapter 2? I don't remember if it was in Chapter 2. I think it was in Chapter 2. PJ Puckapillar is actually a Swappables, which is later in the video. And PJ Puckapillar, I feel like he isn't like forgotten. I feel like he's pretty underrated because no one talks about PJ Puckapillar because, I mean, for example, is PJ Puckapillar still alive? Is he still just going through that, like, ball pit where he goes through? Like, that's a really good question. No one really talks about PJ Puckapillar. I feel like he's pretty underrated because he's a pretty cool character nonetheless. Okay, next character. This one you guys might not even know. And the character is called Daisy. Now, if you guys know this character, then you are a certified Poppy Playtime fan because this character took me a lot of research to find. Besides that, though, Daisy is actually a non-released character in Chapter 2. And originally, with Mommy Longlegs' games, Daisy used to come down with the color game and kill you, but it got replaced by Bunzo Bunny, and the reason because of that is actually pretty interesting. Because the reason is because Mob Entertainment found that Daisy was too scary for Poppy Playtime, which is really interesting to think about, considering there is like, I don't know, do you guys know Dog Day? He was literally ripped in half, and like the prototype, like, what do you mean it was too scary? Like, this game can be gruesome as hell sometimes. Have you seen the VHS tapes? Like, too scary, but it doesn't matter. It's an unreleased character, and no, I think Daisy is pretty forgotten because literally no one talks about Daisy. And actually, guys, I accidentally put Daisy 2 times in here, so I guess I'm just gonna do this. It's fine. Next character is a pretty funny one. Sir Poops-a-Lot. And well, Sir Poops-a-Lot, of course, it's a funny character. The name is funny. In the game's lore, he doesn't appear in the game. No one talks about him in the game. The only part where he shows up is in a loading screen in Project Playtime, I think, and in the music clip from Mob Entertainment for Chapter 4, Sleep Well, I think, he appears, a little minifigure. Lore-wise, Sir Poopslot was one of the more obscure characters that Playtime Co. made to experiment what would work with the kids, and I don't know what they thought with Sir Poopslot. I don't know, like, kids and like Sir Poop, that would be pretty weird, but he was like one of the more obscure characters by Playtime Co. And he didn't really make it, of course. Besides that, I'm just gonna put him in. But he's pretty obscure. I mean, I feel like everyone knows Sir Poops a lot. At least if you know Poppy Playtime. Okay, this character is also one of the characters that you might not even know existed, actually. And this character is called Owen the Oven. And now Owen the Oven is actually, I don't think he appears in the game also. I think he is like, Owen the Oven is like not a scrap character, but he is just like a character that... it's a lore character that is just in the lore but not in the game. And Owen the Oven, lore wise, actually was also a character that like didn't make it to the final shelves, and the reason for that is because in experimenting with Owen the Oven with kids, the kids got like fourth degree burns because of the oven, and it actually hurt the kids and they got like permanent damage, and then they just said like, no, we don't allow that and stuff, and basically what they did, Owen the Oven didn't make it. So yeah, let's just say Owen the Oven is obscure. I don't know if people know Owen the Oven. At least I didn't know him, actually. It's a pretty interesting character nonetheless. But also, how in the hell did Playtime Co. think this would be good for little kids? Like, imagine a 4-year-old kid with a literal oven that can heat up to like 200 degrees in their pocket. Like, what? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Anyway, next character, and this one you guys probably do know, but you didn't know was an actual character. And the character, of course, is Barry. And well, Barry is in Chapter 2 and Chapter 4, of course. I feel like everyone knows Barry. He is like one of the puzzle thingies that you do. You grab him, you push him around on the rails. He is just like for the puzzles. Everyone has used Barry if they played Poppy Playtime. Besides the point, no one really knows Barry is an actual character in the game. And for that reason, I'm just gonna put Barry in no one talks about him, because everyone knows him, but no one talks about him. So yeah, that's Barry basically. It's just like a puzzle character, yeah. Okay. This one I got a lot of comments about in my last video, the Mini Huggies, and well, the Mini Huggies, I didn't really think about them as a character in my last video, so I'm sorry guys, but for you guys who think they are a character, Mini Huggies are of course the toy version of Huggy Wuggy that could be bought on the shelves and that could be played with little kids and like basically that, and the Mini Huggies are basically just like toy versions of Huggy Wuggy. I mean, they appear in the game in Chapter 2 or Chapter 3. I don't remember exactly. At least the Mini Huggies appear in a little mini game where you can shoot them and basically that, yeah. Besides the lore, the Mini Huggies aren't really that important in the game. They're just like a side character, so the game doesn't feel empty, basically. I mean, the Mini Huggies, I mean, no one talks about the Mini Huggies. I feel like no one talks about the Mini Huggies. I mean, yeah, basically that. I just included them because I got a lot of comments about them, and I just wanted to include every single one that I got a comment about. Next one is the Nightmare Critters. Now, the Nightmare Critters are basically the exact opposite of the Smiling Critters, which basically means, they are just a bad version of them, to be honest. And just like I said, the leader, Baba Chops, the Nightmare Critters are just like the side characters besides of Baba Chops. But, I mean, if I ask you one question about the Smiling Critters, you know Dog Day, you know Catnap, but do you know the other Smiling Critters? You probably don't, and if you do, maybe you should touch some grass, to be honest. Besides touching the grass, I feel like the Nightmare Critters characters, besides the leader, are just like pretty obscure. No one knows about them. Well, they know about them, but they don't know their name. Next one is Kissy. Now, Kissy's well known. Kissy is like basically the main character in chapter 5, and it's a pretty important character in the lore. Kissy, she appears in chapter 5. She is basically the character that was designed to make Huggy Wuggy calm down, which is that one scene where Huggy Wuggy gets stabbed to death and he basically dies, while Kissy also dies. And well, besides that, Kissy is pretty important for that. Kissy also is kind, and she just helps you in the game and do stuff like it. And also, she was locked in Lily Lovebraid's house, and you free Kissy. We have a pretty important one, because you guys might not have even known this was a term in Poppy Playtime, and it is called the Swappables. We all know the wrong side Outimals, but did you know the Swappables? Let me know in the comments down below. But the Swappables are like PJ Pocketpillar and Catbee. You guys might know PJ Pocketpillar and Catbee, but did you know there's the Swappables, which basically means, like Catbee and PJ Pocketpillar, that they are animals, but they are swapped, so they are multiple animals at once. It's such an interesting concept, and I can just not fathom that there's officially only 2 Swappables in the entire Poppy Playtime lore. Like, how? It's such a cool thing. The Swappables, they're just forgotten. I'm just gonna put them in forgotten, to be honest. Like, the Swappables are just, no one talks about them. They're just completely left in the dust by Playtime Co. The only Swappable that ever appears again in Poppy Playtime is in chapter 5, which is Lily Lovebraid holding Catbee in her hair. But the Catbee is dead. So even then, like, yeah. Alright, the next character is Shoppy. Now, Shoppy, you guys might actually not know, because Shoppy is also in Project Playtime, and if I remember, I don't know if he appears in the lore. I don't think he appears in the game's lore, but he appears in the Project Playtime. And actually, Shoppy is the character that you can choose to buy collectibles and stuff in Project Playtime, in a multiplayer game. So with that, I don't know how popular Project Playtime is, but if I remember correctly, literally no one talks about Project Playtime. So, Shoppy, straight to forgotten. Shoppy is just forgotten. Next one might fool you, because the robot, everyone knows the robot. I think you have Medicbot and you have another one. But you know what's funny? There's actually a third one that is never mentioned in the game and no one knows about, but he appears even in chapter 1. The name is BoogieBot, and BoogieBot is actually just a toy robot version of all the other robots that help you in the other chapters. Now, I don't remember specifically which chapter the other robots appear, but BoogieBot appears in chapter 1. Actually, when you load a completely new game and you go to the right, you'll walk into the shop with the train at the ceiling. You can see BoogieBot literally like almost everywhere on the floor there. And when you walk in with Huggy, you can see him on the walls. And no one ever realized that BoogieBot was a separate character, I think. So I think BoogieBot's not forgotten. He is just really obscure. Because, everyone knows the robots in the game. The small robots then. But no one knows about, like, specifically BoogieBot. If you do, you can always let me know down in the comments. But yeah, and the last but not least, guys, this character, no one knows about this character. Like, I bet you guys, you don't know what the name of this character is. Can you guess? Okay, time's up. But the name of the character is Sunny Buddy. And what's really interesting about this character is that it was never released by Playtime Co. And that is for a very specific reason. It's not because the toy was bad. It is simply because the toy seemed uninteresting and the designers of the toy didn't know what to do with the toy. Because if you look at Sunny Buddy, it's a little flower with an uninterested look on his face that is just sitting there, and like he doesn't appear in the game, he does appear in the lore, and well, basically no one ever talks about Sunny Buddy. Like Sunny Buddy, I feel like is the most forgotten character in the entire Poppy Playtime series. I kid you not, this character took me like half an hour to find. Like this character was insane. Besides the point though, Sunny Buddy of course goes in forgotten, and that concludes today's list, guys. It's a very simple list. Let me know what you would change about this list actually. I'm really curious what you guys think, and let me know if there's any other characters that I missed for a potential part 3. Yeah, let me know if you guys want a part 3, of course. Shout out to the random subscribers on the screen right now, and see you later.